Hello and welcome back to our fourth video on Windows security fundamentals for ethical hackers and penetration testers. In today's video, we will be diving into the world of Windows permissions and how they can be used to secure files and folders in Windows environments. We will explore how to create permissions for both the GUI, which is graphical user interface, and command line interface using PowerShell. This video is packed with valuable information and tutorials, so get ready to learn something new and let's dive in. Well, what are permissions? Permissions are the security settings that determine what actions a user can perform on a file or a folder. Permissions typically used to control access to resources and to ensure that sensitive data and system settings remain secure. Perfect. What kind of actions a user can perform on a file or a folder? The permissions can be delete, permission to modify, can be permission to read only, permission to read and execute, permission to write, full access permission, and no access, which is no permissions. This is the basic permissions we can give to a user to perform any tasks on Windows system. Let me explain to you very quickly some of these. For example, read and execute. It allows the user to read and execute, but not to modify or delete. We can give that permission if we have one of our team and he is allowed only to start the software, but the user is not allowed to delete the software or to modify it, means to do any change in it. This is one of the permissions, for example. And by the way, the letter here, it represents the action. So D represent delete, M represent modify, RX represent read and execute, and so on. And we will see that while we see a specific permissions and how it performed on command line interface. Let's open the PowerShell to see how to create a user without any permissions. Then we will give that user a permission using the ICA-CLS utility in PowerShell. And we can type ICA-CLS, then the name of the directory or the file, which is in our case will be C, colon, backslash, users, press enter. And this is all the users in our system, and each one of them has its own permissions. Here, for example, Joe, it has F, which is, if you remember, F is full access. By the way, the OI and CI, these kind of permissions is inherited permissions, and I will show you that shortly. But let's play a little bit with the basic permissions in our directory. Let's create a new user and we'll give him a name, James, and we'll give James a permission. So let's type new dash local user dash the name double quote James, close the quote, and we'll give him a description of test user, close the quote, and we will not gonna give him a password for now, and press enter. Okay, we created the user. His name is James, and the description is a test user, and we didn't give him a password. If we want to give him a password, we'll write a password, then double quote, then the password itself. All right, let's give James a full access to that directory. So we will type ICA CLS, then C colon backslash user, then slash, then grant James F, which is full access, and press enter. And successfully processed one files. Okay, let's double check if James has full access as well or not. So let's apply ICA CLS, then C colon backslash users. Press enter. Okay, now we have Mr. James has full access on the C directory users in our system. And we can remove it by type, instead of grant, we will type remove James, and so on. All right, with that being said, let's summarize what we studied today. We took the basic permissions for Windows files, and next video will be on the inherited permissions. And thank you for watching, and see you next time.